Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out XLM's price chart. And this is now quite interesting because if you remember the last time that we talked about XLM, let's go on 30-minute time frame. I believe we were right around this area, and the idea was that this seems to be kind of a slow and choppy move down. So we said we do actually believe on a decent breakout in order to maybe go and take this important high for the first target around 38 cents. But at that point, be patient. That may not necessarily be some bullish structure suggesting the bottom is it. So what happened? As you can see, we did get a move up in Lumen. However, we went much higher than these numbers, and the highest high so far is about, let's say, 41 cents area, meaning what? Well, I think this thing, even if it's going to be a 5 wave on the upside, it really does look out of shape for it to be into the C leg of an ABC in form of, let's say, either a normal flat or maybe an expanded flat, generally a flat structure. Why is that? You see, let's even consider an expanded flat. In that scenario, you're gonna have a wave A, correction for wave B, which in this phase, by like a very small margin, we are going to take this initial low and we are going to get a move up and take the height of our wave A into wave C. However, this is actually the key point. After taking this important high, if this is truly going to be an ABC expanded flat, well, we're not really going to go that much higher. And for example, from these areas, we are going to witness a very strong move down, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, right now, I think the distance between the height of our supposedly wave A and the height of our supposedly wave C is actually quite large, to a degree that is making me say, you know what, maybe this isn't actually an ABC flat. And that, my friends, opens the door to some optimistic structures. Now, let's go around here. You see, if you want to argue that we're going to have our final low around this region, maybe this is like a very important support, then okay, off of the lowest low, then you have to be able to find a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up. This specific structure is called an impulse. Rules for it are we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, our wave 3 right in here should not be the smallest wave. That's actually a big no-no in Helios waves, and in terms of the sub waves, you know what I want to say. 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5. And for wave 2 and 4, excuse me, let's just draw this one properly again. Sorry about that. My mouse is a bit glitchy. There we go. For wave 2 and 4, we can have different scenarios. Let's say ABC into wave 2 and like a WXY into wave 4 generally doesn't really matter a whole lot. Now, let's go on the live chart and see what is going on. And maybe it's best to zoom in a bit more and see what happened in this area. Question is, can we argue this is a complete 5 wave on the upside? I think you already know my answer. Probably not. Why? Because this to me seems a lot like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is another 5 wave up. So how about this? I can tell you that this is a wave 1, correction for 2, another move up into wave 3, correction for 4, to about this point, and probably another leg up to around this high or maybe a bit higher into our wave 5. And since in here we are having overlapping of the waves between our wave 4 and 2, well, okay, this naturally is going to be an expanding leading diagonal followed by a correction down, let's say in form of like an ABC flat structure. And what is going on from this point to around the current region? Well, here is one scenario that I can think of. I can tell you maybe this is a wave 1, correction for 2, 5 wave up to about probably this point into wave 3, correction for 4, and like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave into wave 5. And on a higher degree, that's actually going to be into a wave 3. And I need to see a correction structure down into wave 4 in XLM, followed by yet another move up into wave 5. And pay attention, after having this structure, we need to see, let's say, couple of days worth of consolidation pattern, very slow and choppy move down, followed by yet another phase up. Why do I care about this thing so much? Because at that point, I'm going to be able to tell you, look guys, in XLM, we are having, guess what, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a higher degree, suggesting, you know what, yep, indeed the bottom is in, and this is now the start of a huge bull run. Does this mean that we are going to get like a 700% move effective immediately? Nope, absolutely not. In fact, after completing this 5-wave up, I don't really mind if we end up having like some sort of a choppy move down in form of a correction, and this can be a beautiful long opportunity for us in hope that we get a huge breakout. And the moment, by the way, that we end up getting a break of this very important level, at that point our move up in XLM is going to accelerate quite a bit. Why? Because I'm not really sure if you are a fan of classic patterns, but if you like them, well, okay, I think we can all agree that this does look a lot like a double bottom structure, and this is the neckline for it, meaning the moment that we get a break of the neckline, and by that I mean we go above it, do a correction structure in here and get another move up in order to take this important high, at that point we can say this pattern is confirmed, and it's going to send us up to where? Well, you need to measure the height of your double bottom from this point to about the lowest low and put this thing at your breaking point. There we go. As you can see, this is giving you about like a 50 cents XLM in the short term. But as long as we are not doing that and we're not getting a break of the next line, maybe we should consider having again another move up, consolidation, another phase. And before we get a break of this thing, I don't really mind if we end up having a move down. And you may say, well, okay, if we get a straight move on the upside, this is going to be like a more bullish of a scenario, right? Well, actually, right. You see, in case that in XLM we end up getting a massive breakout immediately, at that point, I'm going to tell you, look, this is 1, this is 2, huge move up into wave 3, and what's next? Correction for 4, another move up into wave 5. So this is definitely bullish. Do not get me wrong. However, if we end up having after another phase up a move on the downside, at that point, I'm gonna say this is 102, sure, but followed by yet another 102 from a lower degree, and then we are going to skyrocket big time into wave 3, 4, 5. And in other words, this is actually a more bullish of a scenario. So again, in XLM, it's a little bit too soon to talk about these possibilities. For now, let's just focus on the current price action, and we want to see another move up, consolidation, and another phase on the upside. If we get this thing, great sign. At that point, we're gonna be bullish with like much more confidence. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in a Stellar Lumens chart. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.